You want to know what I like doing in my spare time? Trying to figure out what's racist and what's not racist, because clearly I have nothing else to do with my time. But you know what else I like doing? It's watching companies spend money trying to figure out what is racist and what is not racist. Now, experts ignore that. Now, experts are asking whether milk is racist as a part of a taxpayer-funded research project in connections between milk and colonialism. A taxpayer-funded project is set to start research connections between milk and colonialism. Academics at an Oxford museum will research the political nature of milk and its colonial legacies. One of the experts involved has previously argued that milk is a Northern European obsession that has been imposed on other parts of the world. Dr. Johann Zetterstrom Sharp, that is a great name, said the assumption that milk was a key part of the human diet may be understood as a white supremacist one, as many populations outside of Europe and North America have high levels of lactose intolerance in adulthood. The new project, Milking It: Colonialism, Heritage, and Everyday Engagement with Dairy, please tell me that's not the actual name, has won funding from the Arts and Humanities Research Council. The council itself is funded by the government through the Department of Business, Energy, and Industrial Strategy, and awards around 110 million, what could be euros if I understand my currencies of other countries correctly, to researchers at universities and independent organizations. The Milk Project will be based at the History of Science Museum in Oxford, which announced it had received the funding. The size of the grant has not yet been revealed. The museum said by focusing on communities intersecting industry, aid, and government regulation, the project aims to center on heritage as the vital framework for understanding how colonial legacies influence contemporary issues and affect people's lives. Through milk, dairies, archival research, and participatory podcasting, it will investigate historical engagement with milk, building foundations and networks with consumers and producers in Britain and Kenya. The project will question both the image and real aspects of milk, revealing the intimate and political nature of this everyday substance. Dr. Zetterstrom Sharp, a university, I don't care about your background. Dr. Zetterstrom Sharp took part in a talk titled Milk and Whiteness during a Wellcome Trust exhibition on milk in 2022, because I guess the history of milk means something to these people. In the panel discussion, she said a North European obsession with milk had led to the assumption that it was a vital part of the human diet, or any human diet, and should be produced and provided on a vast scale. The Wellcome Trust exhibition highlighted the imposition of dairy economies by colonial powers, including in regions where populations had high levels of lactose intolerance. Dr. Zetterstrom Sharp also highlighted issues with the way local milk production in Africa may have been quashed in favor of industrial methods aimed at producing greater volume, and how milk has been distributed by aid organizations. And you know what? If we're backtracking to see the history of milk and how it's gone on in all these different areas, maybe I could get behind that. But I can't really understand what that has to do with white supremacy unless you're specifically targeting only speaking to people of color to understand how their bodies feel after drinking milk. And listen, as somebody who's drank milk in the past, True Moo and the like, I don't think milk is racist. I do think it's something, because anybody who's going to try to convince me that we looked at an animal and decided to jerk it off and drink the liquid out of it, you might be confusing me a little bit. So milk might be something, but I'm struggling to figure out if it's racist. And honestly, divesting and investing all this money into trying to figure out if something's racist just for motherfuckers to still drink that shit anyway really might be a waste of everybody's time. Because imagine you spend all this time, effort, and money to research the roots of trying to figure out how milk became this everyday substance that people had to endure so that it could help out with your muscles and your bones, and then expect the people to just listen to you and say, hey, we figured it out, everybody. We figured out that the history of milk is rooted in white supremacy and no one should be drinking it. How are you going to stop motherfuckers? Because they need milk to drink, to use, to consume in cereal. So how are you going to convince people that they should stop, or that they should feel some type of negative emotions because they're consuming something that comes from a cow's nutsack or uterus or 4 tips of the penis, whatever the fuck you want to call that shit, because it'll still gross me out to this day? How are you going to convince them that that's racist? When you figure that out, you let me know. But in the meantime, subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.